My name is Latasha, and I live in Austin. And I guess we're talking about fears, facing your fears. And I think I guess the greatest fear that I know that I've had to fight through would be the fear of failure. And that can be a very daunting fear, um, especially just in this day and age today. We're all afraid of failing, but sometimes the fear of failing could actually um, paralyze you from doing anything because you're afraid that you're going to fail at it. And I think sometimes environments that we're in, they can become very comfortable. They seem very stable, and so we can become complacent. And so we feel that we cannot survive. I felt that I couldn't survive outside of that environment that had been created for me, or because it was a safe environment. And stepping outside of that would actually, I may fail. Maybe I'm only successful or I'm only good because I'm in this safe environment with these safe people or in this safe place. And so, one of the things that I've learned about fear is that fear is the opposite of courage. Also, fear is going to always be there. There's always going to be this fear, and fear can control. I can allow fear to control me, or I can allow it to be the driving force. And I kind of look at it like this: I'm always afraid when I get on a roller coaster or you get on a scary ride. You're always afraid, but you do it anyway. And that's the thing, is kind of sometimes things happen where it pushes you to make that decision rather than you making that decision, because you wouldn't make it if you weren't pushed. And sometimes that can be really bad, and in my case that was a really bad decision, because I think I suffered the consequences of not making that decision earlier, because I thought that I may fail or I may not be successful. And you think about how your parents would feel or how people would look at you. So I think, that fear of failure also goes into that need to have acceptance among other people. So I think one of the things with me, really being pushed out there, to the point where you're humbled, you almost feel, I guess you would say, naked in a sense. Um, that can be very humbling in a sense, because it makes you face that fear that you've always had to face because you had no other choice. So either you're going to fly or you're going to die. And I chose to fly. And, there's no formula to doing this. There's nothing that I can say, if you do this, you do this, you do this, then there's no formula. But I think the best thing for me was being pushed beyond my capacity, where I had to step out of my own personal comfort zones, that I have been building and that have been built for me, and to really do something different. And I think different is good. And so I think the greatest thing that I've had to deal with is the fear of failure. And also, with me, I don't want to become anything less than God has created me to become. So I want to maximize all the potential that I've been given, and I can't do that if I'm afraid. And afraid that you don't have the qualifications, or afraid that you don't have anything to say, or afraid that you can't write, or afraid nobody will listen. There's a lot of things that go through your head, and one of the things that I've learned to do is to silence those voices and just do it anyway. And another practice that I think that has been good for me personally is to confess those things, not just to myself, but to confess them out loud, to myself and also to other people. So that way that fear has less power. And so fear with less power is motivation. So I think that is the greatest thing that I could have done, is to face my fear of failure. I think it's making me become the person that God has created me to become. And I feel like I'm just getting started. Fear is a huge thing, and it's the driving force for some, and it's also the failure for many. So I think that is my input on fear. Thank you, and have a wonderful time.